Okay, what's going on, everybody? We're here, we're live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat, and then we can get today's stream started. And I'm going to really need you all to drop that one today in the live chat if you can see and hear me clearly, because it appears that StreamYards is at least giving me a little bit of trouble today. So if you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat. While I'm waiting for the ones to come into the live chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, because that's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What it does is that it helps to make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you've been ghost watching this channel for quite some time now, I see you guys. I know you're ghost watching. Why you don't subscribe, I don't know. But if you're new to the channel or you've been ghost watching, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure to share this video out on your social media platform to your family and friends to inform them on this news and information. And yes, that does help to give me a slight boost in the YouTube algorithm as well. And I see the ones are coming in. The ones are definitely coming in, so that's great. You can all hear me and see me clearly. So let's get into today's show, man. Let's get the stream started. Biden officially has no one on his side anymore. There is no one on his side. And when I say no one, I mean that genuinely, sincerely, 100%. Because even his most trusted ally in the fight to remain in the race, Joe Scarborough, and his wife from Morning Joe, even they're waving the white flag now. Even they're waving the white flag. And I want to actually get into them lastly. I want to get into them last, because that's the fact that they're waving the white flag now and telling Joe to step down and do the right thing. That speaks volumes, right? It speaks volumes. And it also leads me to believe some of the news that I've been hearing since this morning, right, from my sources. My sources have informed me that Biden will most likely be stepping down. He'll most likely be stepping down this weekend. He'll be stepping down this weekend. That's what my sources are telling me. And for those of you who are wondering, like, TD, you have sources? When did you start having sources? When did you level up and have sources? Twitter. That's what Twitter's been saying, Newsmax to be exact, but I don't have that video uploaded to play it for you right now. But yeah, my sources are telling me that, he's going to be stepping down most likely this weekend. But I do believe it. And I'll tell you why at the end, even though I actually just told you now earlier, but I'll reiterate that point at the end of the stream. Once again, this guy has nobody outside of declining health, because you all know he contracted C19, right? That report came out. Who still gets C19 in 2024? That's beyond me. Like, that's crazy. Catching C19 in 2024 is crazy work. But he caught it, he has it. His health is clearly in decline. I don't know if many of you saw the interview that Joe Biden did with BET. But you could actually see it in his face, outside of the fact that he just generally looks just really old all the time, because he is. You can tell that he was actually sick in that interview with BET. You can tell, you could hear it in his voice, and you visibly saw it in the man's face, right? That he was sick. There's just really no point moving forward with running the race at this point. There's no point moving forward with this, especially when no one's on your side anymore. And that's what we're going to get into right now. But before we start getting into the people that are calling him selfish, that are saying that he's one, I think Stephen A. Smith said he's one like pitch devoid of a fastball or something like that. I want to highlight my man right here, Christian Dunbar. And the reason that I want to highlight Christian Dunbar is this. The stream was supposed to start at 7 p.m. Started later than 7 p.m. because of Christian Dunbar. And yes, it's your fault, Christian. Here's why. I read your comment where you were having a conversation with another gentleman, and you stated Biden isn't better than Trump when it comes to just simply walking upstairs and off stage. And I said to myself, I got to go back to my trusted source, Twitter, and pull that video up of Biden's most recent attempt, you can say, at walking just simply up and down Air Force One. Let's check this out real quick. Let's look at this video here of him struggling to get up and down Air Force One. My man is taking it one step at a time. One step at a time. I wish I actually had like videos of like Barack Obama and stuff like that. Like when he would go up and down the stairs of Air Force One, like Barack Obama would like literally like hop, skip, and jump up and down the steps, you know, and borderline kind of Biden, Trump too. You know, he's not hop skip. He wasn't hop skipping and jumping like Obama was, but he can definitely walk up and down the stairs. You know, Biden over here is just hand on the rail, one step at a time. Okay, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. It's time to fall back, man. It's time to fall back, have a seat, and let Kamala Harris take over so that she can accept a very easy defeat, because that's what would happen. I saw somebody in the live chat put Michelle for Michelle Obama. I actually don't think it's going to be her. I'd be surprised not at this point. I know I was saying that I think it'll be Michelle Obama, but the thing is just that you have to remember, and I was talking with actually my wife about this earlier this afternoon concerning Biden stepping down and who would take his place and how all that would work. Though I originally stated I wouldn't be surprised if Michelle Obama at the DNC convention stepped up and took the nominee, right? The way things are playing out, and especially with the videos, the sequence of videos that you're getting ready to listen to that I'm going to play for you, they're clearly the DNC, right? And all their little surrogates, they're clearly at this point, in my opinion, laying down the groundwork for Kamala Harris at this point. They're clearly laying down the pathway for her to walk down and take over the nominee from Joe Biden, right? And then you also have to take into account the money issue, the donor issue, right? Joe Biden, as far as campaign funds are concerned, he can't just hand that money off to like Gavin Newsom. Can't do that. That would be against the law, you know. So all that money that he's accumulated so far concerning campaign funds, the only person that could go to is Kamala Harris, because when people donated to his campaign, they're donating essentially to Kamala Harris as well, since she's on a ticket with them. So she would be able to use that money to fund her campaign, right? So it's pretty much a wrap, in my opinion, concerning the fact that it will be Kamala Harris moving forward. And once again, like I said, I do believe that very soon Biden is going to be stepping down, because he's looking worse and worse by the day, and he just has nobody on his side. Everybody's calling him out for being selfish and things of that nature. So what I want to do first is that I want to let the darling of the DNC speak. I want to let the darling of the DNC speak, and that is Cardi B. Cardi B is the darling of the DNC. We have to let the queen speak for a moment. So what I want to do is I want to rewind us back just a little bit, and let's hear what the queen of the DNC, the darling of the DNC, has to say concerning Joe Biden being extremely selfish for not stepping down and paving the way for Kamala Harris. And we're going to see Stephen A. Smith go in on that as well. He says the same thing, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. And that is once again why I have somewhat retracted my original call that Kamala Harris, that Michelle Obama is going to step in at the DNC convention. I don't see that anymore. It's definitely going to be Kamala. Before we get into the darling of the DNC, thank you very much, Sneaker Conversations, for being the first person to contribute to today's stream. Sneaker Conversation stated, been listening for a long time, first time catching you live. Keep it up. I appreciate you, Sneaker Conversation, for listening to me for a long time. Thank you very much, bro. Or sis, if you're a female, but I have a feeling that you're a guy, right? And shout out to my man, Samuel Logan. Samuel Logan said, I'm a ghost watcher 2 times watching streams go by. Man, Samuel, hit the hit the subscribe button, bro. I appreciate the contribution to the channel. Thank you for the super chat. But hit the subscribe button, man. Stop ghost watching me, bro. Hold me down and hit the subscribe button. And thank you for the support. Now let's get into, like I said, what the darling of the DNC has to say.
But I do have some of my opinions, right? I feel like it was very selfish of Biden or the whole Democrat party association, whatever the they got going on. I feel like it's very selfish that they allow Biden to continue to run for president. I feel like they should have passed the torch to Kamala. Like this was the perfect moment for her. Like it's like right now I don't feel like we have strong candidates. We don't have strong candidates.
Kamala Harris is far from a strong candidate, but let's let the queen continue.
I feel like this would have been her perfect time to shine. We already know that she's sharp with the fucking mouth. We already know.
That is an interesting choice of words coming from Cardi B. She's sharp with the effing mouth. Kamala Harris is sharp with the mouth. I'm not going to belabor that point too much because this is a family show. You know what I mean? But we'll let Kamala, we'll let Cardi B explain that again. You know, that Kamala's good with the, yeah, I'm going to chill.
We have strong candidates. We don't have strong candidates. I feel like this would have been her perfect time to shine. We already know that she's sharp with the fucking mouth. We already know that whatever value that Biden wants, she's practically the same value. So I feel like it was a little bit selfish to not make that choice to give her this moment to run for presidency.
So there's that. That's what the darling of the DNC had to say. Now I want to pivot over to Stephen A. Smith as well. This was a couple clips that I have from a longer, I should say 10-minute video in which Stephen A. Smith, he started out his commentary extremely like apologetic, but then kind of revved up and gained a little bit more courage the more and more he started speaking on why Joe Biden needed to step down and needed to step down immediately, right? So I want to get into what he has to say also. Because like I said, at this point, Biden literally has no one in between everybody within the actual Democrat Party as it pertains to just celebrities from George Clooney to Cardi B to Stephen A. Smith. The guy has nobody. We got more articles that have come out concerning Barack Obama. I'm not going to even bother to read this article because honestly, we all know how Barack Obama feels already. We know Obama does not want Biden to run. And we all know that Obama, or it has been reported, we don't know for a fact, I assume based on the reports, right? Just to be safe. It's been reported multiple times that Obama has been the main person behind the push to get Joe Biden to be removed, right? We know this already, so we don't need to get into that. But like I said, the guy has nobody and his health is seemingly deteriorating fast. Now let's get into what Stephen A. Smith had to say. The fake independent who was a clear vote blue no matter who, or no matter how many times he says he's independent. That's just not true.
And as you hear Democrats speaking about him, even the one, I think the number is to 17 now, who believes, as I do, that he should step down, he should step away, and he should pave the way for Vice President Kamala Harris to run against GOP, the presumptive GOP nominee, Donald Trump.
I just wanted to highlight, once again, moving forward, you're going to hear everybody keep harping on Kamala Harris. And you might not even hear that more going forward because tomorrow's Friday and then we have the weekend. Like I said, according to my sources, Twitter, right? By this weekend, Biden should be stepping down. He should be stepping down.
We have to make sure that we're clear because I don't think enough people are being clear.
Actually, we're going to rewind that back a little bit. Let's start from the beginning.
And as you hear Democrats speaking about him, even the one, I think the number is to 17 now, who believes, as I do, that he should step down, he should step away, and he should pave the way for Vice President Kamala Harris to run against GOP, the presumptive GOP nominee, Donald Trump, we have to make sure that we're clear, because I don't think enough people are being clear. It's about him. It's about that president. It's about this individual that seems to have lost a step. It's that simple. It's not about what he did for the last 4 years. It's about looking at him, watching him walk, watching him talk, watching him speak, watching him articulate himself, watching him drift and fade, mumble and stumble. It is about, can you do this for 4 more years?
Nah, bro, you too old. It's time to hand the baton over and get up out of here.
Even folks on the right barely talk about what he's done for 4 years. They're talking about him for the next 4 years. He's 81 years of age. He's going to be 82. But there is clear decline here. I'm not going to speculate about the people that talk about him and what they say from a medical perspective. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to be irresponsible, and I'm not going to be unfair to our president. What I'm saying to the president of the United States, which happens to be Joe Biden at this particular moment in time, is, my man, you would actually sit there, not just your press conference yesterday, but when you sat down with George Stephanopoulos, who was caught on tape saying that you shouldn't run for 4 more years.
I forgot about that. Even George Stephanopoulos got caught up saying Biden got to get out of here.
You got at least 17 Democrats that's on the record saying you should step away from the race. You've got an abundance of donors and Democratic supporters. You got the Rob Reiners and the George Clooney's of the world who love you and appreciate you, and they said you should step away.
That's another thing, too. I meant to report on that a while ago. There is a Biden super PAC, right, that they're holding up. I believe it's $90 million. They have $90 million that they originally were going to donate to Joe Biden, but they withheld the money because they want Joe Biden to step down. They said they're not giving that money up to anybody until Biden steps down, which is the move that makes the most sense, because once again, depending on what the Democrats do moving forward, I do believe it's going to be Kamala Harris now. I'm not so sure about Michelle Obama anymore. But if it was Michelle Obama, then once again, they have to withhold that money and not prematurely give it to Biden, because if they give it to Biden, then he steps down and ends up being Michelle Obama at the DNC convention. Now that's just money gone. But yeah, there's hundreds of millions of dollars from, donors that would have donated to him that are now being held back, waiting for him to step away. So you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars on the line that's just sitting idle because he won't walk off. So money talks, man. Money talks. And the DNC wants those funds released. So Biden, you got to walk away, man. You got to walk away so that they can get those funds and campaign against Trump. Now, it'll be to no avail. Trump's going to win, unless some of that 2020 magic takes place. But nonetheless, they want that money released, and they're not releasing that money until Biden walks away.
You've got an abundance of donors and Democratic supporters. You got the Rob Reiners and the George Clooney's of the world who love you and appreciate you, and they said you should step away. You got the former President Donald Trump making fun of you because you slipped up yesterday with a press conference and you talked about, hey, I would not have selected Vice President Trump if I didn't believe she could do the job. You forgot it was Kamala.
He was about to curse. He's about to say you effed up.
Talked about, hey, I would not have selected Vice President Trump if I didn't believe she could do the job. You forgot.
He was about to say you effed up.
With a press conference and you talked about, hey, I would not have selected Vice President Trump if I didn't believe she could do the job. You forgot it was Kamala Harris that was your vice president. Oh, by the way, just hours earlier, you had introduced Ukrainian President Zelensky as President Putin. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot. And when you sit up there with a straight face and you tell the American people at age 81, clearly devoid of your fastball, that you are the best candidate for the job, what does that say about your vice president?
it means that he knows that she can't beat him. Now, mind you, Biden can't beat Trump either, but Kamala Harris definitely can't beat Trump. Kamala Harris can't beat anybody. You know, on paper, as far as polling is concerned, she is the most disliked vice president in American history since polling began for vice presidents. So I don't know how she beats Donald Trump when she couldn't even maintain her own presidential candidate, her own presidential campaign in 2020. It collapsed before things even got started.
What does that say about your vice president? President Biden 4 years ago promised to be a stopgap to pave the way for the younger generation. Here we are 4 years later, and you don't want to leave.
See what they said, man, get out of here, bro. You holding things up. Now, I was holding this on for last because, like I stated earlier, I'm joking. I'm saying my sources told me that Biden's going to step down by this weekend, but it was a Newsmax report. You know, it was a Newsmax report in which they were discussing that, and you know, some people have their feelings and sentiments on Newsmax. You know, you think it's, you know, fake news or whatever they do over there, and that's fine. People can have their opinions on that. But what actually made me believe that Biden will actually be stepping down sometime this weekend, if not very, very soon, is when Joe Scarborough from Morning Joe came out against Joe Biden. As we've discussed, and Strong and Grand, I see you holding it down in the super chat, bro. Thank you very much. I'm going to get to the super chats in just a moment. I just want to make sure to acknowledge that so you guys know that I'm not ignoring you. I just don't want to kind of lose my flow because I have Joe Biden moments myself, you know, when I'm on stream, right? But you see, I should have ignored you, strong and Grand. I should have ignored you because now the Joe Biden moment is kicking in. I remember what I was saying now. What I was saying is this, right? When Joe Scarborough came out against Joe Biden today, that's when I knew it was real. That's when I knew that, yeah, it's pretty much over for Biden at this point. It's over for him at this point. Joe Scarborough at Morning Joe, him and his wife, they've been the number one cheerleaders of Joe Biden. They have been the number one cheerleaders of Joe Biden, the number one defenders of Joe Biden. They're the ones who snitched on Barack Obama on 2 separate occasions, exposing the fact that he's the one who's actually behind the push in the DNC to remove Joe Biden from his seat, right? They're the ones that did that. Joe Scarborough, he pressured his wife. He at least attempted to pressure his wife into snitching on Obama first. She wouldn't do it. So then he just kind of stepped over and did it himself. He said Obama's the reason that George Clooney put that letter out against Joe Biden. And then after the fact, he would continue to harp on this more and more. Then you fast forward to the top of this week, coming off of the failed assassination attempt of Donald Trump. MSNBC removes the Morning Joe show off the air just for one day because apparently they didn't trust, executives did not trust Joe Scarborough and his wife to kind of play nice, right? Coming off of the failed assassination attempt. What came with that the following day on Tuesday was Joe Scarborough was beating his chest, really feeling himself, and was very upset, saying that essentially the next time you guys do this on MSNBC, we're just going to quit. It appears that MSNBC execs and the DNC elites, as Joe Biden hinted that there were elites within the DNC, and he hinted to that on their show, right? It appears that they've gotten to Joe Scarborough and they said, look, man, get on air and tell your man to step down. Get on air and tell him to step down now, or else you're going to be the one stepping down. And here we are with Joe Scarborough telling Joe Biden to step down. Like I said, this guy was the #1 cheerleader for Joe Biden. He'd have the likes of Al Sharpton and Jim Clyburn on here defending Joe Biden. And now Joe Biden's #1 cheerleader said, Joe, do the right thing and walk away. Let's get into this clip.
Joe Biden's been an extremely successful president. I will say, though, when you're told by members of Congress that they're losing, they're going to lose the House and the Senate if he stays on the ticket. When you're told by members of Congress who have seen the polls that you're losing swing states and that your numbers are going down in swing states, and states like Virginia, New Hampshire, New Mexico, Minnesota are now in play.
What's so funny is that just 4 weeks ago, they had Jim Clyburn on here essentially talking about how polling means nothing. They had Jim Clyburn on their show 4 weeks ago talking about how polling means nothing. There's something amiss with the polling. Joe Biden is doing just fine. Now here we are 4 weeks later, and Joe Scarborough saying, come on, man, look at the polls. Look at the polls. You can't win.
And when your top fundraiser over the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years is telling you the money's gone, the donors have all gone away, you know, it's really incumbent on people that are around Joe Biden to step up at this point and help the president and help the man they love and do the right thing.
Do the right thing, Joe. Do the right thing. Step down, man. Let Kamala take the reins of the election, of your campaign, so that she can get washed, so that she can get washed very easily.
This is not going to end well if it continues to drag out. Look at the events of yesterday, the events of the last 3 weeks. And at some point, I can tell you, Mike, the anger that I hear is not at Joe Biden. The anger I hear are at the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race.
He's saying that as if he's not one of them. He's saying that as if he is not one of Joe Biden's yes men. This man is probably at the top of the totem pole when it comes to being a yes man for Joe Biden. Now he's trying to snitch again. This dude stays snitching. Now he's snitching. He's not saying anybody's names. He's not saying anybody's names, but he's saying you got too many yes men around you that aren't protecting you and keeping you grounded with what's actually going on so that you can do the right thing. Joe Scarborough is one of them. I wouldn't you can't trust Joe Scarborough for nothing. That guy's a snitch.
That are keeping him in a...
He told on Obama, and now he's dry snitching on all the yes men around Biden, as if he's not on the top of the totem pole concerning being one of Biden's yes men. Nobody was stomping the ground for Biden as much as Joe Scarborough was every day on his morning show.
Are the people that are keeping him in a bubble.
Or who have their own interests.
Or who may have their own interests, some financial, in keeping him in the race. That is the real anger. And let me tell you, that's not just the anger from inside Congress. That is anger from inside his own political camp. And it is widespread. It is widespread. Joe Biden deserves better. He deserves better than he is getting from those closest to him.
That's you too, Joe. That's you too. He's fronting like he's not one of them. That's what's hilarious. He's acting as if he is not one of those yes men. You are one of those guys too. You're probably the top yes men because you have, a nationally syndicated show to which you go on air every morning to hundreds of thousands of people. I don't know, maybe millions in the morning. I don't know what his actual ratings are, but definitely goes out to hundreds of thousands of people in the morning. and you kept stomping the ground for Joe as if he wasn't too old, as if he didn't need to step down, having guys like Al Sharpton and Jim Clyburn on, fronting and pretending like polling numbers don't mean anything. But when those higher ups tapped on your shoulder and said, hey, man, tell your boy to back down and fall back now, or else. With all that tough talking you were doing on Tuesday, having the audacity to threaten us and say that we're going to quit if you do that to us again and take us off the air, we'll quit then, Joe. Go ahead and quit then. Either quit or do what we tell you to do. And what happened? He's doing what they told him to do. Joe Biden's number one supporters, Joe Biden's number one cheerleaders are now telling him, hey, man, it's over with. It's over with. And I'm trying to keep my job, bro. So you need to go. You have to go. You have no more friends. You have no more donors. The money's gone. Super PACs dried up. They're holding on to the funds. And I'm trying to hold on to this job at MSNBC. You have to go. That's when I knew. Now, maybe some of you might think that I'm putting too much, I'm giving, Morning Joe too much credit. But like I just said, for me personally, for as much as they cheerleaded for Joe Biden every day, I knew it was over for him and that Biden was going to step down when I saw them come out and say, Joe, it's time for you to go. That's what I knew personally. And with all that being said, that does it for today's show. It's going to be a very fun show tomorrow because we're going to get back to Joy Reid. She's out here talking crazy again. So make sure you're subscribed for that. Okay, so we'll get back to Joy Reid tomorrow because she's talking crazy again about Trump and the failed assassination. That'll be an interesting conversation. And then we have some more assassination talk later on that day after the Joy Reid show, because the more you dive into the failed assassination of Donald Trump and all of the missteps, all of the communication breakdown, things look really fishy. It looks really fishy, to say the least, man. That lone wolf narrative. I don't know. I don't know about all that lone wolf talk. I'm not so sure about that lone wolf talk, man. That I don't know about. That I'm not sure of. But we're going to get those two videos, those two live streams tomorrow. So tomorrow there will be two live streams. It's going to be two live streams. But with all that being said, man, thank you all for joining me today. For everybody who watched on Twitter, don't forget to migrate from Twitter over to TD Media Group for the YouTube channel. For those of you who are watching on Rumble, because I was simulcasting on Rumble, shout out to you guys as well. Let me give my thank yous on the way out for those of you who are supported today. Because there was quite a few supporters. I appreciate you guys. I definitely cannot end the show without giving my shout outs. So once again, shout out to Sneaker Conversations and Samuel Logan. I shouted you guys out earlier. Shout out to my man Cutthroat Ra, formerly known as Cutthroat Nash. He said, come on, man. I'm not saying that, Cutthroat Ra. I can't say that. Knock it off. Oh, sometimes with Cutthroat, I got to pre-read. I'm glad I didn't just say it. But you all can see what Cutthroat Ra, formerly known as Cutthroat Dash, said, man. Shout out to you, Cutthroat. You always coming through and showing love. I appreciate you, bro. Sneaker Conversations came back again, doubled down and said, my black dogs love TD Media Group. I love your black dogs too. Shout out to Strong and Grand, who said a lot today. Let's see what Strong and Grand was talking about. He said, never assume anything, y'all. Go and vote. Nothing is true and everything is permitted for these people. Subscribed. I appreciate you, Strong and Grand, for subscribing and not being a ghost watcher. Thank you, bro. Strong and Grand came back again and said, pay attention to the cop out from these media dudes. They're going to act like all these issues Jim Crow Joe has only popped up after the primaries. Excuse me, I'm going to read that again. They're going to act like all these issues Jim Crow Joe has only popped up after the primaries. They're going to gaslight and cap all day and night. You are absolutely 100% correct. Shout out to Jet Black for coming through like you always do. Without reparations from Jet Black said, without reparations from either side, it's Couch 2024. Jet Black said, I'm not voting for nobody without that reparations package. DC Precise said, sources, Russian bots get their uploads from Putin. You know, yeah, we do get our uploads from Putin. You know, that's my main source. Because for all of you who don't know, in case you're new to the channel, I'm not a real person. I don't actually exist. TD is not a real person that exists in the real world. I am a Russian bot powered by artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. I don't actually exist. And I was designed by Putin to push misinformation on YouTube and to convince Black Americans to vote for Biden. And I'm just doing what I was programmed to do. So, you know, thank Putin. Shout out to you, DC Precise, for coming through. And my man, Saul, coming through as he always does. Cardi must not talk to too many people if she said Kamala has a sharp mouth. If we're being, you know, mature adults about the sharp mouth comment, you're absolutely right, Saul, because Kamala is a cackling fool. She is someone who can't give a speech without breaking out into nervous laughter for anything. The moment she opens her mouth to start speaking, all of a sudden, she starts laughing. But I also do find very laughable, though, that Cardi B used that term, sharp mouth, that Kamala has a sharp mouth. That was a very interesting choice of words from Cardi. That was a very interesting choice of words, sharp mouth. With all that being said, man, that does it for today's show. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button on your way out. Share this video on your social media platforms. I'm going to go live twice tomorrow. I got 2 really good shows. I want to get back to talking about the failed assassination attempt on Biden. I mean, on Donald Trump, because there's just a lot of very interesting, weird information that has been coming out surrounding that. So I want to get back to that tomorrow. So I'll catch you all then. Have a great evening and a safe one. Peace.